stream live from downtown Mill Bay. We're starting reactions today. I handed this out last day, but we didn't write in it? No? In which case it should be here someday, but I managed to get it out and then back. Nope, here's a huge stack, never mind. Two, three. 4, 5, 6. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Personally, for you. Okay, reactions. We're going to start off with chemical change. We're going to compare and contrast that with physical change. And a chemical change is where you have a new substance. How do you tell the difference between a chemical change and a physical change?
Chemical change is irreversible.
Irreversible. Does anybody know how to get hydrogen and oxygen gas? You want to blow things up at home? Anybody do that? Grade 3, grade 4, you take a 9-volt battery, stick some copper wires on it, or nothing, and just put it upside down in a cup of water. You see little bubbles forming? No, we'll do that. I think we've got the Hoffman apparatus ready to go this year. It broke last year. It does that on a large scale. If you ever want to, add a bit of salt to some water so it has a bit of electrolyte. If you attach some wires, it'll work a little better. And if you can get those wires into a couple of little tiny cups, you can generate hydrogen oxygen gas. And if you light it in a little balloon, it will explode violently as it combines back into water. Some reactions are easily reversible. So this is where I get to say, these are all clues. They're not always irreversible. And physical chains aren't always easily reversible, although they often are. If I was extremely mean right now and picked up Graham's notes and ripped it in half, would he be able to recover from that? Yeah, it's just ripped in half. You could tape it. It would look silly. But if I then put it into a paper shredder, forwards and sideways, would he be able to recover from that?
Possibly.
Maybe.
If you were like spent like a day doing it.
I think it'd take more than a day, but
Fine,
with
like a week.
time,
No week.
patience, and maybe a team of crack puzzle builders, they could probably put it back together again. If I then put it in water and allow the fibers to separate, but no chemical reaction, and the ink to dissolve into the water, again, no chemical reaction, is that reversible?
Yes. I mean, if you really tried.
You really tried. It's not as reversible as just lighting hydrogen oxygen gas and getting water back. Some things are reversible, some things are not. Chemical changes are more irreversible in many cases. But again, these are clues. Other signs of a chemical reaction. Yes?
Precipitate, gas, color, temperature.
You have said a lot of things, and I asked for one, so I'll pick one of them. What does this symbol mean?
Change.
How many of you, does anybody know what letter this is?
Triangle. Delta.
That's the shape. It is a delta. Very quickly, if I ever write this, it means change. Have you seen formulas where like velocity is equal to the distance over the time? And they they just do this, and they put deltas in front of formulas. Have you seen that before?
Oh, yeah,
So that just means change it. So I'll use it as a shorthand for change. Does anybody know what this is?
Music note?
No. No, it's not theta. Well, I guess you're right. This is a delta uppercase. This is a lowercase delta. A lowercase delta is used in chemistry to mean a little change. So you see a little delta beside a positive sign, it means it's not plus 1, it's plus a little less than 1, or a lot less than 1. It just means a little change. In our alphabet, because these are Latin, that became this, and that obviously became this, because our alphabet is in part based on the Latin alphabet. So delta, D, became that. I'll try not to use my chemistry slang, as it were. So I'll write change in state, new solid liquid gas. You know, rather than talking about the change, because I need more from other people, I think maybe we should observe a change. So I've got a demo. If we have time, I have a second demo, but we'll do the first one first, which seems appropriate. There are two people writing a test right where I'm going to do the demo. Wait here. If I'm not back right away, wait some more.
Start the live stream.
She started it like 10 minutes before class.
And then you guys were doing something on the board. It was dumb.
People possibly watching this.
No one's watching this.
Someone's watching this, I'm sure.
Let's be real.
Someone will watch it in the future
I
eventually.
think we've realized if I go on my phone.
I'm right here. It's weird watching the live streams and hearing our voices in the live stream.
Oh,
That's why.
I didn't give consent to record me.
That
service off.
Bro, you really should be so
Yeah. Yes. That has nothing to do with me, bro. Michael.
Okay, apologies. I just had to move people around. So if you can stand, we're going to head on up.
These glasses.
And as there are people ready to test, so quiet.
This is correct.
Do you like poker? There's one on Wednesday.
So good.
The vegetarian ones are terrible.
Yeah, they use watermelon instead of tuna. The vegetarian ones.
Oh, watermelon's gas.
But in a bowl of rice and like.
It's not good.
Just don't be vegetarian.
Exactly. Why aren't you vegetarian?
For many reasons.
I eat twice as much meat as a vegan and things that make me a difference. Doesn't make any difference at all.
Behavior like that is a sign of an antisocial personality.
I'm a pretty social person.
Oh, it's pretty social. And then you get rid of one. Stuff goes
People like you.
People like me. I'm a
What's
good
that mean?
person for
Just
that.
because he's white, being racist?
Are you being racist? Is he being for me?
Yeah, are you being are you considering do you consider yourself a racist?
Is he
Sure.
for me too?
You people is a crazy statement. I think I'm gonna go to Liam Sullivan with this.
Okay, we're fucking.
You know how many times I've been called a smart as you feel in school and how no one ever takes it seriously?
Okay, we're fucking racist.
Shut up.
What did, wait, what happened? What happened? I think it might go balls,
Okay.
That would be.
So we can have a change in energy. Someone mentioned temperature. What other changes in energy can you observe? What other types of energy can you observe in a reaction? Light. It may glow or be on fire. You're walking along the beach and all of a sudden you notice the water glows every time you step into it because they're using bioluminescence and a little chemical reaction every time you disturb the poor creatures. What other energy is given off by a reaction?
Radiation.
It's like
Change in color. So that would be a change in a physical property.
it smell.
Smell. We're going to do lab safety on one of these days soon because your next lab's coming up. One of the things, how do you smell something in a chemistry lab?
You bring it towards
Everybody's doing that. Yeah, you do this. I didn't do that in one lab at university. I think I was in second year, and it dropped me to the floor because someone came up and they had a bad cold and they're like, "Can you tell if I've got vinegar in this?" And my brain went, "Yeah, vinegar," and I went. And what he had was glacial acetic acid, which is the vinegar you buy is like 4%. This is like 83% and can burn your skin off. And so that just got inhaled into my nose, peeled the skin off, and immediately gave me a nosebleed. And then it hit my lungs. My lungs feeling acid just squeezed shut because that's bad. Get that out. And I just was on the floor not breathing for like 3 minutes. And then I was like, yeah, it's vinegar.
Don't do that.
So always waft. And you should, in a chemistry lab, also know that it's safe to waft. There can be no possibility that you're, smelling something on the nature of gasoline or a carcinogen that'll give you cancer or something of that nature. And on that note, you can say taste. But you really shouldn't be tasting anything in a chemistry lab unless it's that kind of lab. Food and odor scientists get paid a heck of a lot of money to come up with new products that taste good and smell good and keep you eating and eating and eating. And you're working in those kind of labs, well then obviously. If you have the right kind of nose and you're a chemist, perfume industry will pay you a lot of money. There's a heck of a lot you can do. Anything else in physical property that change? Any other changes in energy that you can think of? Sitting down in front of a fire.
Sound.
Radioactive.
Sound. Crackling. Whoop. Sound. You can often identify a reaction by sound, and everybody knows the sound of fire. Now we have a change in state, which is you get a new solid, liquid, gas. We've got light, smell, and taste. Someone in the other class mentioned texture, and you know that's true if you've ever been baking. And just a few extra seconds at temperature can sometimes completely take it from tasty and moist and nice to dry and inedible. Texture can make a lot of difference in a chemical reaction by the time you're done with it. I think that's most of them. Can anybody think of a process that is not a chemical reaction that gives off a new solid, liquid, or gas? Yeah. Freezing. So we wouldn't include freezing, melting, last one, may not be the last one, precipitating. Someone else, what does precipitating mean? Yeah.
It's like the new substance that creates.
What kind of new substance? Why is it called precipitate? Is it rain?
It's the new compound that
It is a new compound, but it's a particular state.
Oh, it's not solid and it's not like this is something in the middle.
No, it is solid.
It's solid.
It's a new solid. So it's a new solid that was formed. It's called precipitation because when it happens in a test tube in a liquid, the little solid forms and then drifts to the bottom and it looks like rain, so they call it precipitation. Melting, precipitating, boiling. And if you want to get real fancy, sublimating, which is a gas directly to a solid or a solid directly to a gas. If you've ever been in Alberta and you see the ice on the road just slowly disappear with the wind, that's sublimation. It's going from a solid directly into a gas. And solid CO2 does that all the time. So a change where a new substance is created with new properties. And what is actually breaking and reforming that is not happening in a physical change? So these are all clues that this is happening. This is something you can't see. You only see the evidence thereof. What is the force that binds and holds the universe together? Oh, that's also true. Yeah, not the one I'm looking for. What's the force that holds all matter together? I'm probably being too obscure. Yeah? Bonds. I'm just looking for bonds. Old bonds broken. New bonds form. Just like the movies. Yes?
What is the
the word right where? Here?
No, the with new.
Oh, properties. I will text recognize it and shame you for not being able to read writing that a computer can read. That actually used to be more of a shame because computers weren't very good at all. And now, I think actually they're pretty good. It's not shameful at all. It's like, I for one welcome our time traveling robot overlords and would say nothing against them.
I wonder what it would think the like second bonds is. This is like new bonds form.
Well, I can get that one after, but no one's asked that one. What I want here is a bunch of examples of chemical reactions I'm going to ask you. However, the first one is the most important reaction for you. It is the reason most of your organs exist. I'll give you a reminder. The mitochondria is the that was, I mean, I know it's first block, but that was not enthusiastic at all. This is like sung at parties. The mitochondria is the
Powerhouse of the cell.
Nice. You look confused when I said that. You're going to the wrong parties.
No, I'm just really tired.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So, what process takes place in the mitochondria? Ooh, cellular respiration. When you breathe with your lungs, so lungs, we have O2 in, CO2 out. And the brachii go into there. I should say the CO2 comes out and the oxygen actually goes in. This is in your lungs, and we just call it respiration. And then if we have a mitochondrion, you put oxygen in and you get CO2 out. And you make, as someone said, ATP, but I'll leave that for biology 12. This is actually a form of energy. They have, ATP has really high energy bonds, and you just take the ATP to whatever chemical reaction you want to make it go faster, and it will break that bond, and it will give it that energy, and that reaction then goes faster. And so that's your way of, your body's, your cell's method of moving energy around. Only happens inside a cell. You don't move ATP in your bloodstream. So respiration in both is the same, but this is a cell. This mitochondria, by the way, have their own DNA. You don't make them, they make themselves. They're a parasite a long time ago that invaded eukaryotic cells and became then not a parasite, but symbiosis. So this is why you are slightly more related to your mom than your dad, because all your mitochondria came from your mom. They provided the cell and all of the inner workings in addition to DNA, and that DNA is slightly different. So if you want to trace your maternal line, you just look at the mitochondria, because they had to come from all the moms. Cellular respiration, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. I want you to come up with 5 more. I'm going to come back and ask you. And then I want you to figure out a bunch of examples of a physical change, and what are all my no's? So what are not broken, what are not reformed, and no what? I am going to go get the second demo set up while you're doing that. Questions before I go? Let's go see. I like the chanting version of that. Ms. Stewart was trying to clean the fume hood, if you saw her. And we're going to go and make it hopefully dirtier again.
Even just a very slow, convoluted chemical reaction. Mitochondria power molecules. Something like that. Good Liam. You good?
But I put no bonds.
They're shiny ones. There's no, this is better one. The one we just did is
Elephant toothpaste.
luster.
Elephant.
So it's physical.
Oh, freezing, melting, boiling, precipitating, or all.
Photosynthesis
Photosynthesis.
is a dumb word.
Is a cellular chemical change?
It's the opposite of cellular
I
respiration.
don't remember what that is, but alright.
Photosynthesis is the opposite of cellular respiration. That's what plant cells do. They make oxygen out of carbon, and we turn carbon into oxygen, which is carbon
Let me say elephant. Let's say elephant toothpaste. That's a chemical change.
A rock.
Yo, okay, look, because I don't know if you know what is.
Yeah, how was the walk? I didn't see you at all.
No longer broken, no longer waiting for the first one.
Okay, where did you go? You were like behind me at one point, and you were behind me, and you were just going.
No, we're not even the first one.
I escaped.
Oh, no new substance.
I went to go buy methamphetamine.
You get some
There's
extra.
so many meth dealers in California.
There's so many what?
Crack and meth dealers.
Oh yeah.
Actually, yes.
Gotta hit some of that up.
It's really good. It's really good.
How'd you know?
He's a day student.
I'm trying to tell you, brother.
Can gay students get expelled for the
Yes.
vote with
Well,
they
what
do
if
it?
they're off? Yeah, they do it off campus.
Oh, that is up to the parents.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I don't believe in drugs.
No, they don't stop.
I'm
never gonna do. I'm never gonna smoke or vape or do anything.
No vape. Smoking's not bad.
Never
Smoking's
do
bad
meth.
though. It's still bad.
If you don't do one drug, don't do meth. Because it permanently damages your brain.
I should do.
Weed isn't as bad as vaping.
No.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, vaping
Vaping
is worse,
brings
but
you
it's
on.
still,
Yo, Mari,
it's still, weed's still bad.
It's so
Like, it's
bad.
still-
Weed is better.
It's better, unless you're like heavily smoking it, then it's better than vaping.
Yeah. Well, most people who vape heavily vape.
Why are you? Why are we having this conversation?
No, I'm trying to find chemical changes.
I can try with that.
Okay, it's okay. We'll just like give you a slide. We'll give you a slide.
Yeah, just like I don't care
We'll
what.
do it. But yeah, we do a snacks block.
You can't uncook food.
Dude, I do so much.
Did you not? We just did it for the library.
That is
That
true.
you
Yeah, baking and cooking.
Yeah.
Baking
Cooking,
and
you
cooking
can't
are like the same thing.
We just did it on the
Fire.
slide.
You can count them
Like,
as different
the
things.
base 20 rules.
That is a
Did you know you bake cookies? You can
Yeah, and you cook
Who did
bacon.
it? Yeah, but I just like,
Well, then what do you have to do?
he needs it, he needs it. But I don't know
Oh.
what
Could
he's
you
done.
vape
And
bacon?
when-
I can do it all.
When your like your package comes with a
I don't know
boat, it's
what,
called
like,
cargo,
get
and
the
when it's on
photo.
a like a vehicle like a car,
Yeah,
it's
we
called
do.
a
We need to
shipment.
like kind of tweak that out. Because I was like halfway through.
The island you create.
No.
Outline. You're
Because
still
when you get something shipped, you ship it.
okay. That's not. No, I mean like
Where?
a
It can
pasta
be
like
in
fit.
any.
But it can also come on a car.
Yeah, but most likely your thing will come from
But
China.
normally they're like, oh, look at what's on that ship. It's cargo.
It's a different.
Okay, sorry for the delay. Again, they might be ready to test, so a little bit quiet. A little bit of history here. This is just aluminum and iodine. Iodine, anybody seen iodine in a first aid kit for like cuts or something? Yeah, you can put it right in your skin. It kills bacteria, a little bit poisonous, but you can handle it. Aluminum is like you build things out of aluminum. Everybody's seen aluminum rods, computer casings, and everything else. Put these two together, and all I'm going to add is water.
Oh,
Come on up.
I'm excited.
Put my head
you
in
know
it.
the Washington Monument was capped with like $7 worth of aluminum?
Sliding, bro. They made they want you to do the work. No.
I hate them.
That's
crazy.
That's crazy.
white ones that are.
Yes, you got the same one. Yeah.
I appreciate your presence.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I know what I'm gonna do if I
I'm not gonna get this. I don't know, bro.
So I have a few more demos, but I don't think we're going to have time today. What's the first one? Sorry? Sure, that one works. No new substances. So if you boil water and get steam, you still just have water. What aren't broken or reformed? Bonds. A very bland Bond movie. I mean, if he's not broken and reformed at some point in the movie, is it even a Bond movie? Some examples of a physical change. Cutting. So just slicing something up.
Melting or boiling.
So state change. So melting, boiling, and I'll just leave the rest done. And I just realized I have not been using the app. I'm supposed to get people who don't have as many points. So Nick, give me another example. Pardon? Disintegration. Explain what you mean by that, because this sounds more like a magic spell.
Like for example, like
Okay, I'm just going to say with your laser gun, we disintegrated. It's actually a spell in D&D. Bo, another one.
Compression,
Compression. What can you compress?
like mud, like if it's like soft ground, make it.
Ooh.
dense.
Yes. You can also compress gas. I was thinking of elements. Can you compress water?
No.
No, you cannot compress liquids, which is why if you fall from a height and you belly flop into water, it is like hitting solid ground. It's not soft. And if the water can't move out of your way fast enough, it's like hitting concrete. So if you fall out of a plane, how should you hit the water?
Legs first.
Legs first. Don't spread eagle it. Do that to slow your descent. In the last second, of course, you'll have a clear mind while doing this. Rotate so your feet are hitting the ground, so you break your legs to break the rest of your fall. People who survived a fall from beyond the lethal point in which humans just fall at the same rate after that point because you just get wind resistance. People who survived that in just by hitting 3 feet of water and survived perfectly fine, healed from all injuries. A little bit of water will help, but you have to hit it right. Remember that in case you ever get sucked out the window of an airplane. Any other? Oh, hold it. App.
I wouldn't.
Rachel. You're adding to this one? Sure. Sometimes I'm told that that's like my classroom. I think I'll go random. Oh, no, Layla. Shredded paper. Shredded cheese is just cheese in a block that costs you 5 times more to buy per pound. And doesn't melt as good because shredded cheese, cooking tip, is not actually exactly the same. They add cornstarch to it so it stays shredded and separate, which will then interfere when you're trying to melt it. We need one more example, Graham.
Like baking.
Oh, baking is our example of a chemical change because it changes color, it changes Did you mean like baking, like cooking? What do you mean? Oh, can you come up with a different one that's physical?
Is drying something physical?
Drying. Drying is just removing the moisture. If you take a food, you take out the water, provided you don't allow any chemical change, the food can still be reconstituted and apparently is identical to the original.
Apparently.
Well, nutritionally, it's not too bad. As long as, I mean, in the process, you might actually get a chemical change, but mostly it's a physical change. And so that actually is how we preserve food. Because food, water promotes microbial growth and fungi, and so it prevents it from going bad. So drying has long been used to preserve food. We have enough of those. And those. Hold it. Why do you have your laptop? Laptops away. Laptops should stay in bags if you're invited to remove them. Close them, put them away. I say that because I am a terrible, terrible person. If I had my laptop open in the middle of a staff meeting, I would be playing RimWorld. And I absolutely would not be paying attention to class or my email, or, as I found out last year in chemistry class, I'd be buying a very pair of tasteful shoes. That wasn't me, that was a student. Okay, what do those symbols mean? 3 of them are really easy. One of them is hard, but I'm going to ask you to give me all 4. Yeah?
Solid, liquid, gas, is that
Aqueous, nicely done. And what is the difference between liquid and aqueous? Nope, you've answered too many. You've answered too many. You've exceeded your hand allowance for today. I will ask Rose. We will work through it together. Aqueous looks like it's melted, but it's not. So I'll give you an example. If you pour salt in water, have you ever taken a glass of milk that you're going to give to your mom and dad, and then poured salt in it and stirred it up, and then gave it to them to watch what happens?
No.
Okay, just me. What would it taste like?
Good. Salt water.
Yeah, I did it to watch their face. It did not taste good. When you mix salt and water, can you see the salt in?
No.
No. When you, is it melted? The salt? No. And so that's what we call aqueous. Aqueous just means dissolved in water. So that just refers to this. It is not melted. The water has pulled it apart in a special way to hold it there. Sugar is dissolved in water, is considered aqueous. Salt can dissolve in water and is considered aqueous. Potassium cyanide can be dissolved in water and used to assassinate people.
And we consider aqueous.
And is also a salt. The thing we call salt is just table salt. What is this little thing when you have it lower down on a typewriter called? Nope, you've answered too many. I'll leave that the next day. We're going to go over reactions. We're going to get into balancing. You have a worksheet to practice your Lewis structures. I am here, of course, now in tutorial if you haven't had enough chemistry. And you're welcome to ask me any questions. Oh, one thing. With this, you'll see numbers on there. Ignore the numbers, because in order to put in occasionally, habitually, I mark it. 1 is rarely, 2 is occasionally, 3 is often, 4 is habitually. But does this go to your mark? No, it's just a ratio where you are there. So this is for she handed it on time, but did you mark it? Yeah, so now you do. And I will take your next one as your, yeah, so I will update based on your new one. Because I mentioned in class.
Excuse me.
Yep.
To get our passwords for our
Oh,
grades.
yeah,
is
just
that great?
come here. I can do that now. Do you have 2 seconds? I'm just gonna get him a password.
I also need